and we're on Facebook Live. Welcome to all my wonderful guests, as usual, from all around the world. Today we're talking about design and architecture. And as COVID-19 continues to hamper our spirits, we are pleased to share some beautiful design, architecture, and interiors. We are also mindful of universal design and access for people with disabilities. And I talk about it because my brother Zain is a person with disabilities, but he also hosted a wonderful webinar yesterday with a team around universal access. Today's guests are gurus in their specific spheres of art and design, from film production and set designers to architects and interior designers to weavers and storytellers who use emotional intelligence therapies in the mining sector and dot art to comfort our souls and bring in true beauty. Because as Reem says, we are only renting the space on earth and we need to make it beautiful. So let me introduce to you our very first amazing talent, and that is Chantal. Chantal, I think we have some of your work, which Justine will show. And then as she shows it, what we do is the pictures can run and then you can talk to us, but let's see what Justine has that she can bring up first. And then tell us about yourself, about your work, and then you can go into this amazing project. Welcome, Chantal.
Thank you, Firdaus. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's quite a privilege. I must tell you, though, I nearly said no because I felt quite intimidated being surrounded by so much talent, especially the architecture side of it. I don't know why I was intimidated by architecture, but it's specifically that. But it's been a wonderful process the last couple of days since you invited me, is to figure out, exactly how I fit into this. I mean, film design is my life on many levels, not just the design element of it, but film for me is life. It's about life. It's about accessing life experience. And this particular project that I'm showing right now was exactly that. I mean, it encompassed everything that I believe film is and the powerful medium that we have in our hands. Because not only does it discuss, life itself, but it also can celebrate form, which Blood Psalm specifically did. So then I didn't feel so bad because my job, and I'd like to describe it on this platform, is I'm a narrative architect. I tell story through, I tell the director's story and create the director's vision through the architecture of line, color, form, and taking from art, from which is essentially line and form, really, to tell experience. So that's me, and then to talk about Blood Psalms. Blood Psalms for me, which is the project that you're seeing all these images from, was basically a project that I was very privileged to work with Yellowbone Entertainment and with Leila Swart and Jamil Quebeca, incredibly talented humans and breaking ground in South African film industry. So it was a great privilege to work with them. Jamil is quite an incredible director. So what I do as a set designer is the director comes up with obviously the narrative, and I create the world. And that world has to tell the story before any actor comes on board. And I take that quite seriously. I always have. And this project was able to give me the platform to be able to add the layers, the very deep layers to this particular narrative.
Wow, it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Chantal. So, Reem, I have to tell you that, we brought Jamil to your mum's festival, the Cairo International Film Festival, a few years ago. So that was his first trip to Egypt. And he was so enthralled and taken in by that whole world. So you see how Chantal has recreated all that beauty that he actually witnessed in Egypt. So for both Nidal and Reem, you can see that world, right? So Were you saying something, Reem? Because I think you might be on mute.
Yes, I'm muted. Yeah. I was saying that this is the Pharaonic. Yeah, I felt like home.
Yes,
when I see it.
absolutely.
Very
So
nice, very nice.
that's good for you, Chantal. So you know that you have recreated Reem's home.
Please,
Oh,
please come. Okay.
that's wonderful. I was
Yeah.
particularly intimidated by you being here, or anyone from Egypt, because I was like, okay, well, you know, have I done that world justice? You know.
Have you ever drank from the Nile before? Because
I
they
haven't.
say when you drink from the Nile, you will come again for sure. So
Oh,
come
amazing.
for once, and then you will come again.
Thank you. But what was incredible about this project was how basically we used the architecture of Egypt. There's a terrible echo.
Getting an echo. I don't know from whom. Okay, try again, Chantal. I think you'll be fine now.
So what was incredible about this project is that we actually used the architecture, well, Egypt actually as our vehicle to speak about identity. It was the story is about Kemet, the identity of Kemet. So we dug very deep in the history of Egypt and Egyptians and Africa, so the Egyptian side of it was really just a vehicle for Kemet, a Kemet revival. So the research, the layers of the story are incredible, and that's why the privilege. And I mean, unlocking. So which dynasty do I take my inspiration from in terms of the specific line and form? Because the Egyptian history is just so vast and so massive. So if we're discussing the Kemet identity, which form and line gets selected, which part of all the dynasties do we select as our vehicle to tell the story? So that was a magnificent process. I mean, I found a thesis on by a woman who wrote a thesis on Nubian architecture. And then from there, my world opened up, because that was the stolen identity, you know. So it was really just to find that place where we could represent the stolen identity of Kemet. So it's the layers are huge. I mean, I could talk to you for days about this.
Thank you, Chantal. But thank you for sharing, because this is really what their show is about. Is really to give nuggets of all of your wisdom as we weave it together. So I'd like
Thank
to
you
go
very much.
thank you, to Nidal. Another close friend, because his mother, Layali, is also based in Egypt and has opened that beauty of Egypt art and architecture and friendship. And so welcome, Nidal. We have some of content from you that we can show, and you can talk to us as we show your pictures. Please, Justine. Thanks, Nidal.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's an honor being around you. I was astonished by the previous work. It's really, really, really nice. Thank you for that journey. Those are some of my images. I do architecture. I'm an architect in different scales. I do interior design, product design. Also, I do some Arabic calligraphy in an art-based project. It will be an honor to show my work and to be among you special people in front of all the world. Thank you for being here. I want to to highlight this project in specific, this exactly image and the images after it. This project in specific, it's important because it is one of the biggest or the largest structures. It's made by from a reused material. It's from the concrete, from the damaged structure. Here you can see the previous image. You can see the top image from the land when it was empty till we got this final product. This is a sustainable product that all the areas in the whole world, they are calling for such a sustainable project. Also, it's huge. That means we can use it in many scales, not only in small scales or in not a luxurious area. This is all the images from the same project. It's a project that I would love to share and to use it in several areas in the whole world, using the destroyed buildings from the war, for example, and reuse them and make a new building for other people. Several other projects, I'm happy to show you them.
I'm really intrigued.
Yep.
Wow,
Thank you.
Nina, I love so that is recreating from something that's been destroyed.
Yep.
Wow.
It's from the pavement around the area. The government, they changed the pavements and some destroyed buildings. So we take the concrete and reuse the concrete because we can't recycle the concrete. So we reuse it. So it's all reused from concrete, plastic bottles, tires. You know that tires are not recyclable. So we use them in the structure and several ideas.
I wish you could come to South Africa because I'm building at the moment and I would have loved all those wonderful recyclable ideas. Congratulations.
I'm here to help you with anything you want. You can share it and we always connected.
Yes, absolutely. So now I'm coming to South Africa with Zubair. Hello, Zubair.
Hi, Firdaus. How are you?
Are you okay?
I'm very well,
You're
thank you.
relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm teasing you. So we've got a little clip that you sent to us. We will show it without sound because
Yeah.
if we use music that doesn't belong to us, we'll get blocked. So Justin, could you please just show the clips? Oops, no sound. Can you do it without sound, Justin? Yeah. No? I think it might be a problem. So the concern for us, unfortunately, Zubair, because we don't own the music. Oh, maybe Justin's trying something else. Let's see. Okay. So you can talk to us about your work, Zubair, as we see the images.
So GSF Makeovers offers our clients a turnkey where we don't really, or our clients don't really need to go and look for anything finishes. We search or source whatever it is our clients are looking for. And in the project we now, our client is an expat who returned to South Africa from Dubai and wanted to have, outdoor living and his indoor all brought into one space. So we managed to get him shutters, the American-made shutters. We've sourced wooden floors for them. The kitchens were redone. The client didn't really need to go out to search for any items or any products for his project.
So what we'd like to know, because yours is very different to the others, you are a commercial company that assists your client, and you said it was a turnkey project, right? For
Yeah.
the production.
That's correct. We all, well, our clients, a lot of times clients see things on Pinterest, on Instagram, and looking for it in South Africa, as you know, it's a little bit of a tricky issue. So we source goods and items from around the globe for our clients, whatever it is you may be looking for. Whichever corner of the globe, we'll source it, and we seem to be getting it right.
Yeah, you definitely do seem to be getting it right. Well done. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now we've got Ishkel, who's all the way from Mexico, sitting in Canada. Are you in Toronto at the moment?
No, I moved, I'm 2 hours away from Toronto right now. I'm in the countryside.
Okay.
After COVID, I relocated.
Okay, well, you're going to tell us about, I was just so blown by your beautiful work. So we have a video that we'd like to show first. We only able to show about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll show the images and you'll talk to us about your work.
Yes.
Thanks, Ishmael. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for this. Okay, so can everybody hear me? Yes.
Well, we don't
Okay.
want to. Can you let us first show the video?
Yes.
Thank you.
There is a very interesting narrative of the Mayan culture from this southern part of Mexico. It's called the Epalchen. In this narrative of the Mayan culture, it says that the moon calls upon the first women on earth to climb the tallest tree. And there the moon will throw the silver threads for her to learn how to spin and weave. And then there the first women on earth would share the knowledge to daughters and granddaughters. And that's how the mythology comes of how we learned how to weave. And I think that's beautiful. Weaving, it's a little bit different because it's very sensorial. You are manipulating and transforming all the yarns to produce a piece. It's the weavers make the canvas as they go along. Like I say, it's like a creature that you are giving birth to until you release it from the loom. It's giving life to a piece of art.
That is so beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Wow. So we have.
Well, yes. Yes, that was a production we did 2 years ago of my latest body of work. Well, my latest in the last 12 years that I've been working. I work a lot with photography. I'm inspired by nature, coming especially to Canada. And I love my country, Mexico. I lived there all my life. And my grandfather was an archaeologist, so I have a lot of background with music. My parents are musicians, and I started weaving and doing fabric design since I was younger. And it always went back to the structure of the threads with warp and weft. So I'm not a very orthodox weaver per se, because if I would be a tapestry weaver, I would have to be using only cotton, wool, linen, and silk. And I use everything, going from 2D to 3D. And anything that draws my attention in terms of texture, I will use it, because I think that's the language I have been exploring, trying to have this juxtaposition of photography with nature. Photography, in my family, my dad had a dark room when we were growing up, and I loved the process of 1 second in the camera. You are drawn to something, take a snap in a second. And then the tapestry is so slow. It's one of the slowest mediums that we have right now. It's very, very slow and time consuming, the weaving itself. So I like that contradictory thing of that we live in a fast moment of fast time. Everything is a swish of a phone. Everything is like click, click, delete, everything. And then suddenly the peaceful, repetitive, like Mishka was saying about the dots and everything, it's a binary, it's the beat of the heart. It's the most basic instance that we have. It related to music and relates to very organic form of being. So for me, tapestry, I've been doing almost 40 years tapestry. And it's my life. I've been doing other things, batik, planji, tie-dye, shibori, sculpture, other things. And I always go back to weaving because that's my comfort zone, where I can explore textures in many different ways.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we come to Nikhil, who's also sitting in Durban, correct, Nikhil? KZN. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
KZN at the moment, but I grew up all around South Africa. So Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, Pretoria, and now Durban for the past 7 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is amazing. Ikshal, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes. Yes.
your work is incredible. I was just making notes. Have you seen the work of Ella Natsui?
Yes,
Uh,
for sure.
yeah,
Yes,
it
I love
reminds
it.
me when you
Yes.
speak about the three-dimensionality, it's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, guys.
Clips. If Justin will get your clips up, and then you can talk to us about your work. Tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do.
So I'm a practicing architect currently, but sort of run a multidisciplinary design studio as well with my partner and wife, Nindya, who is also an architect and artist. My area of concentration is mainly habitat. So I work with natural media. So I draw with like carved sticks and India ink. And I try and capture like our urban environment in all its glory and all its chaos, and turning the mundane moments into, you know, moments of power. I started with urban sketching and urban art, like as you can see in these drawings, but through a few experiences and through life experience, realized that the division between nature and the urban environment is it's a man-made construct. So habitat is habitat, and I moved on to exploring our natural environment a lot more, and sort of creating these large-scale immersive impressions of forest environments and the shadows that plants create that draw you in. Like this piece, for instance, is 2.1 by 1.5, and the idea is that it overwhelms you, that the scale is is equal to that of the facade of a building when you're standing in front of it, and that imposing sense that it sort of imposes on you. Um, yeah, this is more sort of a traditional media, so it's acrylic on Fabriano. What I do enjoy about the Fabriano is the way that it bends and warps with the moisture in the air, so that the medium becomes part of the message, because the medium is directly affected by your immediate environment. Yeah, so these are just some more of my recent explorations. That's my baby. That's some of the work up in a gallery in here in Durban, actually. I think what this does is it gives you a good sense of the scale of the pieces. As we move through them, you'll see some of our, that's my old studio in the historic part of Durban on the Point area. I've since moved out of there, and this is, I'm actually in my studio now. That's a masjid in Mauritius, Port Louis. My wife's Mauritian, so I travel there quite often, and the city fascinates me, so I've drawn a lot of it. So this is a series of jewelry pieces that we did with a non-profit organization called the African Art Center, where we took we took very modernist and pure Platonic forms and used the traditional Zulu medium of weaving to create jewelry out of that. The concept behind the series is that it's the void series. So the pieces become a frame to expose the skin behind it. So it's not about the actual object of adornment, it's about the skin behind it, and the frame just sort of enhances the beauty of it. This is an installation we did for Red Bull Amapico, where we used only local city-based artists and artisans and materials sourced in the CBD to create an entire fit out. And the whole idea of the Amapico main hall that my wife and I did was the marketplace of ideas. So we went to the marketplaces in the Durban CBD and like sourced the plastic bags that they use, the stuff that would normally be discarded, the blankets that they use. The only things that we designed here was the furniture, so the tables, the chairs, and the big sort of backdrop. The rest, all the fabrics and everything was sourced in town. So this is obviously it when it was unpopulated, but the idea behind Amaphiko is that it brings together young entrepreneurs and established entrepreneurs and artists, artisans, people who've been in their respective industries for a while, and they trade ideas and they provide mentorship. So we thought that the marketplace of ideas was the perfect concept for that sort of event. This is some more of our jewelry with the sketches behind it. And yeah, that's a small portion of what I do. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so we come to Mishka. So I have to say, where's Mishka?
I don't know what happened. Just a minute.
Okay. We're waiting for Mishka's. Yeah, there you are. So I stalked Mishka online on Facebook. I started seeing these beautiful pieces of art during COVID, and I said to her, I really think that you need to be selling this art. And she was, no, this is part of what I do, and it's the therapy and this thing about emotional intelligence, and she works in the mining sector. So I'm so happy that she could be with us, even though you're out in India, Mishka. Tell us about yourself, what you're doing, and we do have some of your art because we stalked your Facebook page.
Thank you so much for doing that, Firdausa. Good evening, everybody. It's so sweet of you. I happen to be in India right now, and that too in Shirdi. And I was not carrying any of my work, but it was like, I just had to be here. It's an honor and a privilege. A little bit about myself is I'm an Indian, born and brought up in India, but married to a white South African. And the work that I do is I teach emotional intelligence on the mines. That's my part of the training. And while I was doing that, I also got into something called the dot art. Dot art is basically an Aboriginal art form. And there is some of the work that, I got into and started doing the dot art and teaching it on the mines, especially the mine workers who had never, ever even picked up, paints in their life. And then, it became like a healing process. And I started teaching this. I take workshops for children, adults, elders. I don't charge for my work because it has brought me so much of pleasure. And basically, it's a stress buster. This art is like a therapy to me. And I want to share this art with people. So yes, I neither sell my art, nor do I charge when I teach this art, because it's changed my life. And I just want to bring around, some of that gift, share my gift to the world, yes. So I teach it now. I've been doing this for almost a decade now. I started off doing the dot art on the stones that we call the mandala dotting art, because it's easier to get stones and pebbles everywhere. And the paints that I use are the acrylic paints. And I love the acrylic paints as a medium because you can dot anywhere. You can dot on a crockery, cutlery, plate, glasses, tables, you can do it on canvas. Basically, you can sit and dot anywhere. So you will see me carrying my dotting tools and a set of my paint. I always carry them in my bag. And it's a joke in my family. What do you do for Diwali? I dot. What do you do for Christmas? I dot. What do you do when you're happy? I dot. What do you do when I'm angry? I dot. Basically, what do you do on a special occasion? I dot. So dotting is basically what I do. And it's something that I like to propagate to a lot of, my friends and people out there, because it does give you, it's a stress buster. More than that, it gives you a sense of achievement, concentration, patience. It's wonderful. It's a therapy. Yes. So
thank you so much, Mishka. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So I actually saw my first dot art again at your mother's event in Cairo when she works with the children. So I
Wow.
brought back actually the pebble, Mishka. So I brought it back from Egypt because one of the women there,
Yes.
Reem's mother runs a festival for young people and people with disabilities. And so part of the therapy is also the dot art. So I want to welcome you, Reem. We have a long history, a very long love affair, as you know.
Yeah.
So here is all of our mother, your mother, is my
Yeah.
mother. Such an icon and amazing woman. And I am so impressed by your work. So
Thank
I
you.
know that Justine's going to pull up your wonderful website. I also wanted you to come to South Africa because I needed all those beautiful things you've done.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Welcome, Reem, and let's see some
Thank
of your
you.
work as well. Thank you.
I must say first that I'm really honored and it's my pleasure to be between you and among you all. And I'm really complete from all what I've seen. So thank you for all of you because really you have amazing talents. You are really, I feel complete. So this is part of a project that is dark. Project. You know, the first thing I do that I take the vibes from I'm a receiver. I just receive the vibes from the client to feel in which direction the client wants to go. And then I just start the journey from here. So this is a modern house, a little bit. This, you know, I want to talk about this wooden thing because it's just like bunches of wooden sticks, and it's just the bunches with different levels, and that that brings this shape. It was like a sketch at the beginning, and then we put one by one until we got all this arrangement. So really the team was really tired to do it, but it was done at the end. Yeah. All the walls has some sort of cladding, and with this iron thing. They have an old piece, and this old piece was not matching with the modern look. So we did it like with the leather, and we painted it dark. It is black, so that it can match with everything else. It's like something out of the box, but it means a lot to the client. So this is the thing that I really like to do, to have them feel that the client feels that it's his house, not my house, you know. So that is the thing that yeah, this is part of the yes, the stairs. Okay, and the photo in the middle is the same room that I'm in now. This is in my house. This room, it was supposed to be the dining, but in COVID, due to COVID, it's now my mother's room. Okay, now it's, yeah, I can share with you the room now with a bed. But then she left it, and she just stayed for 3 days and told me, no, I would prefer to go to my house. So this is the yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I painted all this with one of my friends. This is painted because I like to paint also. So all the panels is painted, and some of them are wardrobes to put stuff in. So the dining room is only the table, and then you can put everything inside the storage.
Inside the wall.
Yeah, inside the wall. Yeah, the walls are stored. Yeah, all these panels, yeah, it can open. So you will not see. Yeah, this is also all the rectangular shapes in this unit is, you can open it, and just you have a lot of books and stuff there. And the wooden thing on on the right, sorry, on the left. Okay, this when you open it, it's there is shoes and bags inside it.
Wow.
Yeah. So because this client had a lot of stuff and she didn't know where to put her things, so I was just, when I design, I'm designing with everything. And this is the crazy, crazy room for the bathroom, with some sort of, the pattern on the floor is like black and white, and then a color came out of the blues with this wallpaper, and this wallpaper is printed. We printed here.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the exciting thing about today was really that kind of different mix of art and artists and interiors and exteriors. I think just how do we bring it together? So Zubair, I wanted to check with you because what you're doing is really getting stuff directly to your clients. Now you have
Yes.
Reem and you have Nidal sitting in Egypt. Isn't that fun for you?
It's amazing.
So
Really
you're-
exciting.
I was
So
just gonna say,
when will you come and join?
Sorry, Reem, what did you say?
When will you come and join?
Inshallah.
Inshallah. I need someone to, to do the job as perfect as you do. So
Thank you.
the hard work, cutting, breaking, putting together, doing the plaster, all of that kind of thing. As we prepare, I just want to see whether Justine is able to get me the link. Ishkel, I want to look for the link of that beautiful piano as you weave in and the music being played. So I'll ask Justine to look for that. But while she's getting that, Ishkel, can you tell us a little bit about that project?
It's an inter and multidisciplinary project that I did with a composer from Bulgaria. And he's an amazing, he's a poet, he's a writer, and he does music for movies and theater. And he used to teach at my school. And one day talking with him, I'm always trying to experiment with different mediums, not only because, well, my both parents are musicians. My father was a symphony conductor and a violinist, and my mom a pianist. So music for me is embedded in me. I used to play the flutes also, and for me, music is part of me. So talking with him, we came, and he's also a photographer. So one of those nights, when the Bohemian nights, and we start talking and fixing the universe through art, we said, well, you know what, we have to make this. He recorded the sounds that I would do with the weaving, passing the threads, using the beater, the passing of the threads. He was recording the sounds as texture. And he was taking pictures and details of the warp and the weft in slow motion. And then I said, well, what if you play the piano and I weave to your music? And it became a collaborative music. It was really, really interesting to work with him. We did a huge black cyclorama where the loom was there and his piano was there and the narrative of the stories. There were 3 stories that were there in a poetry. And then there were words.
I think Justine
Yes.
had it. So let's just see Justine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
memory apart, apart, apart. Membrane, remembrance. Are you there? Are you there? We are. Yeah. Warmth and weft.
Wow.
Well, this, if you want to, you're very curious, you can look it up, and it's in YouTube. I'll send the link for the full. This was just a trailer, but it's a 1 hour presentation where photography started playing with the textures of the sounds, and it was really fun to do.
So was that done as a performance?
Yes, it was an art performance. Yes, and we were doing a submission for a project in Japan with the lights and everything, but you know, COVID just everything got shut down. So yeah, but it was very interesting because keep in mind that the closest thing we have is textile. You know, since we're born is the thing that holds you warm. We don't realize everything around us is texture, right? That it's a comfort. It's a comfort feeling of wrapping yourself in the patterns of the sounds. It's also the closest thing we have as human. Everybody here in this panel and around the world, whoever is alive, was ever in that moment in the mom's womb, where you can only hear the pattern of the heartbeat of a mother. You know, could be adopted, not adopted, but it's a human organic sound, and it brings us comfort. So the dotting, of course, and like I tell my students, you know, everything is, it's in us. And the way we explore the textures, you know, the feel, the smells, the touch, the sounds, everything becomes one. And that's what I love. You know, when I do tapestry, I just, you know, you're touching the threads. And I love mixing materials. I love working with metal. I put paper, raffia, bamboo fiber, you know, I try exploring different materials. So yes, that was interesting. And I love collaborating with other artists. You know, originally I was, you know, I hear the architects here. When I entered university, actually, I wanted to go for architecture because of the spatial use, you know, a human being in a space. And like Chantel said, it's a story. How can you bring a story to a three-dimensional part, right? The narrative of a scenery, a scene design, you know, you have to embed it with a story. So anyway, life took me elsewhere, and I was always surrounded by textiles, and that's what I've been doing. You know, I try other things, but I always go back to weaving. Weaving is, it's beautiful.
So as you talk about textile, I grew up, you know, my grandmother used to make wedding gowns, and my mother and two of my sisters are designers. And my father used to sell textiles. So he used to travel around the world to buy the most beautiful textile. So this that I'm wearing today, Reem, I'm coming back to Egypt. I had this whole thing made. I copied a Nigerian design, but it was made in Egypt when I was there for the Luxor Film Festival. And Chantel, I actually went there for Jamil, on Jamil's behalf. He'd won the award. Of course, I came back with this big, beautiful Egyptian Luxor statue of sorts. And I said,
Yes.
you have to be there because it's all part of Egypt. But there's this lovely connection, I think, in terms of us, whether we're in Mexico or Africa or India, that you really find, you know, that southern, south kind of conversations. And Mishka, I want to come to you because you live between India and South Africa. Am I correct?
Basically, I'm born and brought up in India, Bombay, but I'm married to a white South African. So I've been in South Africa pretty much since 2005. But I keep bouncing back in between India and South Africa because my parents are here and my home is here. But my marriage, my work, my family, everything is in South Africa. But at present, I am in India. That's right. During this lockdown. Yes.
So I wanted to ask you about the dot art that you do, because we can see that the crossover in a way between India and Africa somehow.
That's right. Yes.
what would have been the African influences for you?
Basically, I'm just surrounded by the beauty of South Africa, but the culture. So, since I teach on the mines, and most of the time, the people I'm teaching are the Black South Africans, the miners, the mine workers. So the my job is to teach, emotional intelligence. So we come up with a lot of diversity with them sharing with me how they get married, how culturally we are so different as India and South Africa. And pretty much that's where I started with all my drawings and my painting is, watching them and seeing them. And I basically inculcated by dotting art into it. So that's how I blended in between India and South Africa, is getting in culture and, adding in my, dotting into it. But yes, culturally, we are pretty much similar. Yes, for those
So
up.
I was going to say, Mishka, so myself and Nikhil and Zubair are Indian South Africans, right, Nikhil? You are South African Indian. And so the connection, obviously, with India, which is really important. So I want to come to you, Nikhil, especially as you sit in KwaZulu-Natal, and the influences of the Zulu culture on the work that you are doing, and this beautiful weaving that you show us in the jewelry making. I also want to know, when I saw the drawings, was that Stone Town in Zanzibar, or is it another Stone Town?
That is Stone Town in Zanzibar. It's a timber workshop in Stone Town.
Because I hosted the Zanzibar Film Festival last year, so I was going to Zanzibar on and off the whole year last year. But tell us about your work in terms of that collaboration.
So no work exists in isolation. Everything, we are effectively filters. So we assimilate we assimilate our context, we assimilate all of our influences, and we produce as a result of that. So all I can ever be is like a summary of my friends, my contacts, my colleagues, and my context. So as a result, there isn't any specific individual influence that I can pinpoint. Growing up in an Indian household is one thing. But I grew up quite liberally. The Indianness in my household was welcomed all other cultures and welcomed all other influences. So as a result, my work sort of draws from that, different elements from different contexts and different parts of South Africa. With the weaving and those things, it's more of a what's available at the time. So if somebody's got a particular set of skills and they're really good at that, like somebody's got incredible dexterity and there's a culture of this weaving using the telephone wire, then absorb it, use it, and see what you can do with it, and push that technique beyond what the individual who was doing it and the constraints within which they were working could ever have allowed. So yeah, I think that's definitely like how I integrate influences from all around. Growing like South Africa, being South African is great because you've got this, what really truly is a melting pot, but at the same time you've got the tension of our history. So people sort of stick to, and nowhere else in South Africa is it more apparent than KwaZulu-Natal. People hold on to their cultural backgrounds quite strongly, but yet there is a strong drive for sort of cross-cultural pollination and integration and friendship and relationships and things like that. So you've got what's essentially bastions of culture and at the same time a melting pot. So it's a rich place. It's an incredibly rich place to be an artist and a designer. Yeah, we're gifted, we're blessed,
Nidal, you have lived in six different countries, so you have loads of influences, but you also know that South Africa and Palestine are together and one, and that your freedom in Palestine is very important to us in South Africa, as Nelson Mandela Tata Mandela said. So I want to welcome you, but tell us about those influences of 6 countries.
Yeah. Actually, I believe that open eyes and being around in several places, and it's not just only living in 6 countries, it's traveling, it's moving in the same country. You can go to a city to another, meeting different people, different mindsets. This shapes us and open our eyes wildly to see the beauty in every detail in the world, from humanity, from human being around us, through nature. All this gives us a great influence, and we can implement it easily in our life. Actually, we learned in architecture or in the School of Architecture that we are not just people walking in the street. We observe every single detail. We are like moving scanners. When we have these scanners, and we drink from the mixed cultures around us and the countries we lived in, actually it gives a very nice creative juices, if we can call it like that. And yes, it gives a lot of love and happiness to our hearts to meet people like we are doing now. Actually, I'm really so happy to be on a screen with so beautiful people, a lovely spirit, so creative environment. Thank you a lot for you and for all whom with us.
Thank you, Nidal. Chantal, I want to come to you because you're the film person. Your text, your drinking from the cup is very different because you have all those amazing film texts to read. Tell us a little bit about your process.
Well, my process will be, I'll get a script to read, and the script is obviously the director's ideas and story, and then the process of that would be to create the world that the story will be embodied in, and that's obviously a collaboration between the director's vision, what my particular skills can bring to that vision, and then of course the marriage of all 3, which is the director's vision, my contribution, and then comes the cinematographer who then brings that to life through light. So it's a massive collaboration. I mean, my motto, my quote in life is filmmaking is life is art, and art is love. And in the case of filmmaking, love is a collaboration. So it's a completely, and that's what I love most about filmmaking. It's a complete collaboration. So in as much as, you know, I'm involved in building the sets, they can't come alive without the cinematographer, and they wouldn't exist without the director. And then of course the people that contribute other ways as well.
Thanks, Chantal. That's lovely. Love is art and art is love. Reem, I want you to come to South Africa because I really want all those walls that are so beautifully cladded and painted.
Okay, my pleasure. I would love to. You're a dear friend, really. You're a family, Firdaus. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So
I always liked all your outfits. You are really amazing. I really love your taste.
Thank you. That's the luck of the draw from my mother and my father, I guess, because as I told you, they were in the fashion
textile.
world.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the design. So usually when we come to the end of the show, we ask, because it's the F show, so F means something to each of us. Obviously, F is for my name, Firdaus, but I usually say F is for freedom, and we go around and hear what everybody else thinks F is for. So you can think about what F is, but I'm going to allow Zubair to tell us a little bit because of the amount of talent in this room, Zubair, and I see that you're saying you are quite in awe of the talent. Would you like to have a closing sentence? And for everybody else, before your F word, you can tell us whatever closing sentence you'd like to give us. So we'll go to Zubair.
I mean, Nidal's work is totally inspiring. Service Reem's, her dining room looks something out of a fairy tale. So hopefully we can collaborate, and maybe, who knows, one day she can come down, and Firdaus, maybe we can do yours.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Mine is going right
please.
now as we speak. So what are your closing thoughts, and what does F mean to you? I'm going to start with Mishka.
Hi. F to me has always stood in block letters for freedom. And F will always stand for freedom for me, besides the F show. It's an honor being with you guys, being a part of this particular show, especially during this lockdown. I really, really thank for those for the lovely work that you are doing to keep it all together. It's just been an honor being a part, and I really do hope that we can and we should collaborate sometime in the future. I'm always here, always available in between India, South Africa, and whenever. And thank you all for having me. And namaste, stay blessed, and stay safe. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nikhil, what is F, and what are your last words?
Me?
Nikhil.
Nikhil.
Sorry, I was
Nikhil.
muted.
It could be Ishkil and Nikhil. I meant Nikhil. Sorry.
I guess if for me, definitely friendship. You know, it's where conversations happen, which is the most important thing, the most important generator of ideas, and ideas are what propel the world forward. Ideas and execution of ideas. So I guess it's as simple as that. Yeah. And just to say, final thoughts. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting all of you guys, and I'm sure that this won't be the last time. I think you're all incredible enough to travel across countries to meet, so I wouldn't mind. And Firdaus, thank you for putting this together and for setting this conversation up. This is incredible.
Thank you, Nikhil. Now, Ishkil.
Okay, so my closing quote, talking about the F, of course, you close your eyes and you say F, it becomes a texture. But I agree that, because I was always writing, you know, freedom and friendship. There are two lines that if they come together, we wouldn't have any war. If we are learning to live side by side with freedom and friendship, I think that would be the best weaving of all. So thank you for the invitation. The panel is fantastic. I am really honored to be here. And like I said, you know, everything, like I see the screen here, it's a beautiful tapestry of amazing people. And thank you for the invitation, Peter.
Thank you. I think your work has been so inspiring, and it's on so many levels. And I think you're probably the luckiest of all to have your parents who are artists as well. So you've just grown up in all of that, and you're just the sponge, right? Taking it in. It's incredible. Thank you so much. Nidal.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you, Firdausi. Thank you, guys.
I will take F and I will translate it in Arabic. It's called Fa, and the word is Fuad, which is the heart that has love in it. So in a way, it's a heart full of love. And also we can use it in a word called Farah, or happiness. So I would love to share love and happiness with you guys in Arabic letter. And I would like actually to do some collaboration with Arabic text with all the artists with us. We can use it in many ways, in textile or in dot art or in architecture. In some way or another, you can actually do much more in this. I'm very happy. Thank you to be here. I am enjoying this show. Thank you.
I love that you're offering this texture, which I think is important. You do know that my name Firdaus means paradise, right? Jannah.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
But I would like you, now that you're talking about the F and the way in which we could collaborate, it really would be interesting for us to think about that. So if Mishka is going to do the dot art and Ishmael is going to do some weaving and you're going to do calligraphy, and
Yes.
what is Reem going to do? Hello, Reem. What does F mean to you?
For me, F is faith and fulfillment.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and now I'm really fulfilled. I told you I'm full with I'm complete. So really, I'm happy to be among you guys. Really, I'm very happy that, it was very short. Yesterday it was like, oh, my mom sent me this, that you're trying to reach me, and I was like over the moon to meet you. I really loved the idea. I loved the gathering. When I saw each and every one, the word for everyone, I really felt like I want to meet everyone. So we don't know after, this is the good thing that COVID did, really, because we all are one now. Yeah, everyone can see one another. It's easier. You can really communicate and connect with very simple way. And this is the thing that I really loved in COVID. So
Yeah.
faith and fulfillment, and thank you for fulfilling me today, all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Firdaus. Really, it was really nice to be among you.
That is absolutely wonderful and so true. That the Zoom way or this online way of connecting has just become fantastic. And I want to thank you because I know it was the last minute. I was desperately trying to get your number and I knew that you're probably busy, but I'm glad that you joined us. Thank you so very much. Chantal, what is your F?
Firdaus, my F is fearless. It's create fearlessly, fearless authenticity, fearless love, fearless unity, fearless freedom, fearless being. So, and I want to commend you for what you're doing here. It's wonderful because it also, it gives people the opportunity. I certainly find talking to people on this kind of platform quite intimidating. So I had to step into my own fearlessness and, show up. And I thank you for the invitation. I thank everybody for being part of this. It's incredible, very inspiring. And it's really nice. What I got from this today as well is how much love there is for what we do and how much the love is transformed through the form or medium. And that can only just bring great things. And art has always been the way to change things. And I think we should go back to pushing that again, and this platform is doing that. Yes, on many other levels. I've watched other shows that you've done, but this has been a wonderful place just as a reminder for that. So thank you for that. And thank you to everyone else. It's a privilege to meet you all.
Thank you, Chantal. I think that is really true. The opportunity to be able to talk across the world in such a small space. And I know that in Mexico, what is the time? Sorry, it's not Mexico, in Canada. What is the time right now?
Right now it's 1:30, almost 2 o'clock.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon,
and
yes.
In India, I think it's midnight, beyond midnight, Mishka. What is the time?
It's 12:35. It's exactly 12:35 midnight here in India.
We want to thank you for staying awake and being with us.
Firdaus, thank you so much. Thank you. You're doing a wonderful job. I just could not refuse. I had to be a part of this. It's an honor and privilege meeting all of you all.
Thank you so much.
What time is in South Africa?
The time in South Africa is 21:06, so it's just after 9, which is the same in Egypt. I think we're all on the same line. So it usually happens that we have people in the US and then in South America and then, in Asia, and they say to me, are you sure it's that time? Because it's like, it's after midnight, but it's because of the time zones and we want everybody together. So I'm so grateful to all of you. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing, for the love that you are sharing. I think that I'm going to definitely take Nidal up on this idea of the calligraphy. So hopefully, Nidal, by the next show that we have is going to be on elections, politicians, and fake news. So you see, ours was the best fun. Yeah, we had the fun, creative conversation. So next week, it's every Thursday at 6 p.m. GMT. But hopefully, Nidal, you will have something fun for us in the calligraphy that we're going to share amongst you all. And we'll continue the conversation. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.